Good morning to everyone. Today we will cover grammar first, then we will move to our usual parts like linking words, introduction and conclusion writings. So the problems that you stated that you have yesterday. So the first thing that to cover is while, during, for, past perfect. These things will be in your test master in today's test, so that's why let's cover them first. I know you are familiar with these ones, however, you are making a mistake when they come together. For example, when while, during, for comes together, I don't say that all of you make a mistake, but there are people who are confused in these things. So that's why today let's do a recap. Can you see the screen now clearly? Perfect. When we look at while and during, the translation is almost the same. But if to look deeper, there are differences, right? When we make up sentences, they sound different, they're used for different purposes. However, when it comes in a test, when you put both of them in one place, it seems like they both fit. As it happens in your tests that in 2016, when we had this in the first question about conditioners. They're working while the office hours or during the office hours. So let's now clarify this one. So first thing to know, while we use it when two things are happening at the same time, but they are not connected to each other. They are not linked. Whereas during is the opposite of it. They are kind of interrelated to each other. From this one, you can say, yeah, there is a difference. For example, I was listening to the radio while I was cleaning the kitchen. So you can do the listening to music and cleaning the kitchen separately, yes, but it's happening at the same time, but the actions are not connected to each other. But when we look at the next sentence, I went shopping during my lunch break, they are related. It was your lunch break, and that moment you went to shopping. It states when something is happening, at what moment it's happening. For example, let's look at while. My father was washing his car while my mother was cooking. Do you see connection here? There is no connection, just two things are happening at the same time. As it's now, I'm looking at the screen and I'm talking, and you are looking at the screen. We are both doing the same thing at the same time, but we are not connected. Second one, while my brother was driving, I was reading a book. So with your siblings, while you are at home right now, and you are doing different things in different rooms. You are in the same place, you are doing this action at the same time, but you are not connected. There is no relationship between you guys. Next one, I will be lecturing while you are taking notes. So again, very similar situation, what's happening now. Now I am lecturing about while and during, and you are listening to it. Probably taking notes if you don't know. Now here you can see a clear difference. During is answering to the question when, we can even say. There should be a noun. Now look. During my vacation, I witnessed a lot of magazine events. So when did it happen? Here in the vocation. Next one, we can discuss this topic during the dinner. So the question when is answered where? At dinner. Here was vocation. So when you are in two minds between during and when, just think about, do I have the answer here for when? If to use during. Or the things are actions happening at the same time or not? What happened during the blizzard? So during what? Blizzard. Your grandfather came during your absence. So when the grandfather came? Absence. There is no music. How can you listen to music? I don't have music. No, I don't have music. Maybe some of yours microphone. Well, it's weird that you are listening to music. Okay, next one. The students were quiet during the lecture. So the answer to the when is which word here? Lecture. So now when you will have in your tests during and when, you should be able to resolve those tests because there is just two tips. One, the question when. Second one, are these things, actions are connected or not? Next one, for. For is usually mixed with since, but sometimes they are mixed with the while and during because of the length of time. So for is used for how long something's happening or something has happened, right? But since is used for the exact year, right? For example, I have been working as an art teacher since 2010. But this one, if to turn it for would be have been working. Can you continue this one? Okay. For 10 years. So it's quite a long time. Right? Yeah, it's the same as for English tutoring. Okay. You always wait for your friends, right? In the morning while you go to school or when you call them to go hang out outside, for example, and you wait for them, right? You rarely say that I have been waiting for you since 3 o'clock. You usually say I've been waiting for you for like 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. You exaggerate. Yes, that's the moment to use for. For how long you have been waiting for something to happen. Yeah, you can say I have been waiting for you for 3 hours. If you say I have been waiting for 3 hours, it means you are still there and you're waiting. But if you say I have waited for you for 3 hours, it means you probably went home after. You are just telling the story how long you have waited for someone. And next one, I have been studying English for 4 months, therefore my English is not good. So the length of the time that you've been studying English is just 4 months. And of course, your English is not that good to be confident to speak about. Do you have any questions regarding during, while, for? Maybe any confusion is there? Are you sure? Because now we will do the test. If you make one mistake, I will exclude you from online lesson. I didn't go into deep details for while, during, and for because you have covered them. And it was a general overview. Okay, now the most interesting and confusing for students would be past perfect. What is the best explanation to explain past perfect? What do you think? What's the best definition for this one? And actually, what is this past perfect? Why do we need past perfect? Okay, action finished in the past. Okay, action before present. So it's basically the past of the past, right? Прошлое, прошлого. Okay. When we are referring to past perfect, in most cases we use already, yet, ever, never, before, earlier to refer something happened at the past and before the past. Yes, we are going two way back. So if you look at the first sentence, you can see that I didn't want to go to the cinema yesterday. So if we can refer to this part of the sentence as just past simple, just. But because I had already seen the film. So this action, the action in yellow, happened before the action in green. That's why it's the past of the past. Next one, I couldn't open the door. It's the first past that we are having because I had lost my key. So the action in yellow happened before action green. Next, I had lived in Moscow for 10 years before I moved to Germany. Exactly. This one, because Moscow happened first. Wait. Here, look at the keyword. What is the keyword? Yeah, we will look for the keyword first. So before moving to Germany, now we look Germany to green. why I'm... Yep. Next, she hadn't finished her homework when we came back. What is telling that this is past perfect? Exactly, the hidden one that should be added here. When. Now let's highlight. Which action happened first? Good, when they came back. Okay, now let's move to the task. Can you see the test on your screens? Okay, perfect. So here the main questions are about while, during, for, passive voice, past simple, continuous are perfect. Yes, this is the first thing to do while you're learning English. First step. It means через. С помощью, можно сказать. For example, I will send your homework via Telegram. Let's proceed. Let's do the first one. First one is D. Okay. What about second one? Perfect. Third one, I lived in Paris several years. Great. For I was in Paris, I met a lot of friends. Great. Fifth, I was in hospital 3 weeks. 4, my stay in hospital, the nurse looked after me very well. During or while? Perfect. Number 6, a football match lasts 90 minutes. Great. Number 8, I hurt my leg. I was playing football yesterday. It makes me excited when all dances goes correct. Next, I hurt my leg the second half of the match. Great. Traffic is always bad. Okay. Why you think, who said it's D? 10th one. It's not in, because first of all, it's answering to the question when. When did it happen? In the rush hour. And the actions are happening at the same time. Next, last week I was held up 3 hours. During, while, or for? Yeah. Next, Peter came round, we were eating. A. Peter came round the meal. Great. It's my birthday next week. Excellent. When? And Monday. Mm-hmm. 16. That morning. Great. 17 also together. 18. I'm meeting Alan this evening. 19. What time? 20. What did you do the weekend? 21. Friday evening we went to a party. Why, Abdurrahim, you think it's D? It should be C. You should refer exactly what day, and before referring, you mention. 22. Good. 23. B. Great. 24. Great. 25. Yeah, that is C. 26. Good job. 27. 28. 29. Also. 30. Only Jasmine. What about others? 30. Exactly. 31. I will phone you next week, Thursday. Great. 32. I will phone you about 3. Great. And now for this part. Here you will get confused. Be careful. Think through your answers. You have a minute. Look and answer. Not like one question, one answer, but pick 5 and then write 5 answers in one message. $23. Oh, I'm sorry. It is B. Sorry. You gave me correct answer. I highlighted the incorrect one. Guys, are you ready to answer? Okay, Jasmine, give the answers. Others? Why do I get the answers from the same people? Okay, those ones who cannot hear me or want the microphone to be turned on, please press on the microphone itself. Okay, let's start checking now. Okay, again, I'm asking, do you see anything unusual on your screen? Any gray square that you are not telling all is okay? Okay, perfect. Okay, 33 would be C. You all agree, right? There is no confusion for you. Okay, great. 34. You all unanimously agree that it is A. 35. D. Found. 36. B. Exactly. 37. A. If you don't understand why exactly it's A or why exactly it's B, please ask, okay? 39. 38 is D. 39 is has or had. 39. Okay, let's look. Very firmly and patiently, she taught her to every object. It's not A. 39 is not A. It's not half. Exactly, Rana, Safia, Jasmine, it is had. What tense you are using here? Yes, past perfect. That first you have one thing that happened before. So while she was teaching her to that object, that object already had a name, right? So she was just referring to them. It's all happening in past perfect. That's why you refer to had. Past, you should have, like, it's logically, you should have looked first at the past perfect, because what's the theme of this test? It's past perfect. 40. Offer, offered, was offered, or offering. What does mean offer? Exactly, it's priлагать. Yeah. 40 is C. 41 is B. And last question. With all the claps, the correct answer is was made, make, is making, or was making. 32. Exactly. It is A. Congratulations, we have finished the test. All the answers are correct. And now I want to ask you guys, I know that some of you already been working with this book because it's been given from our center. And on which test you have stopped? And on which level? Pre-intermediate, intermediate, upper intermediate? I don't want the test to be boring for some students because they have already covered it, but for the rest, they are just sitting. So in order to entertain everyone, test 6, okay, from intermediate level. Great. Next lesson, which means tomorrow, we will do intermediate plus upper intermediate. So both grammars will be covered in depth. And so all the groups can participate and understand the grammar. Okay, now let's move to introduction. How to write introduction. When I made the questionnaire, you guys voted on how to write introduction and conclusion. Yeah, so yeah, paraphrase and thesis statement we will cover today. Thesis statement has already been covered, but you are making mistakes still on thesis statement, how to write it, what to write there, what words to use, and when to give opinion. So it's still, there's a big confusion. So that's why I prepared the presentation. I hope it will be clear. And what I realized is that some students just write introduction and they don't even know why they need this introduction, why there's such importance on introduction and conclusion. some of you just miss out the conclusion and say, well, I have already stated my opinion in 2 body paragraphs. Why do I need a conclusion? So that was a good question, but there is a need for conclusion. You cannot just write the in conclusion is in conclusion, yeah? It's not how it works. It's your last chance to prove that you're worth it, to worth the mark that you want to get. So let's start. How the introduction should look like. Yesterday, I was marking one student's work. It was a girl. And what she did was she wrote introduction, which was bigger than 2 body paragraphs combined. Can you imagine how big it was? It shouldn't be big. It shouldn't have the arguments. The point of introduction is just to take what is given on the task and just paraphrase it. By paraphrasing, I don't mean that you have to add opinions, you have to add different arguments, make it strong, give examples. That's not what I mean. And when I write down next to your introductions, it's not strong enough. I don't want you to add the arguments there. By strong enough, I mean the language itself, the way you are using it, what kind of vocabularies you are including, what kind of sentence is it? Maybe it's simple, maybe it's complex. So depending on this one, I tell you to change or to do something. So it must be short, but should include all the things. By all the things, I mean paraphrase and thesis statement. By paraphrasing, you should move to better words. You shouldn't downgrade, you should upgrade. For example, if there is a written word, let's say awful, yes, you shouldn't say it's bad. You should say like better word, for example, disasters. So what I see in your introduction is you downgrade from vocabularies, but it's the first and last time in your life you will need English to prove to the examiner that you know these vocabularies, because you've been spending months, years to learn these words, and it would be very unsmart from your side to use low quality vocabularies in your introduction. Next one is thesis statement. Thesis statement is the most important part of your essay. Because here you are showing what kind of essay you are writing. So basically, it is your task achievement. Did you understand it out? Did you understand the type of an essay? What will you be writing? What's your position? It's the key part. For example, if it's an opinion, there is no point of reading your essay further because it's already clear the essay is off topic. So from the second line of your introduction, the examiner already knows what kind of mark she or he will give to you. So make sure you give a good introduction. So introduction provides you with a chance to show your ability. It's like a hook for you, for the examiner to show off. That's what I know. And next one is, it's a great way for you to leave a good impression. And I'm sure you have heard of this one, first impression lasts. It doesn't matter how well your essay gets in body 1, body 2, what kind of great examples you give, if your introduction basically poor. So make sure you give the best impression that you can possibly give. And as I said, by the use of a thesis statement, you show to the examiner, you got the task, you got the question or not. So here is the list of essay tasks and with thesis statements. So now while you are writing opinion essay, you will look at these thesis statements. While you write discussion essay, you look at these thesis statements. So there is a thesis statement for every type of an essay. Now let's look. Let's analyze. Space exploration is much too expensive and the money should be spent on more important things. What is your opinion? As you can see, introduction is just 2 sentences. It's more than enough. You may say that the first sentence is too long, but not, it's complex sentence. It's correct sentence. So now let's read it. There is an argument that exploring space is a waste of money and that there are more urgent needs to be addressed on Earth, such as reducing poverty and preventing environmental destruction. So there is nothing off topic going on, even though the sentence is long. However, I completely disagree with this opinion for 2 reasons. It's possible to give such thesis statement if you wish to give. There are even better ways of doing so. If like some of you do give good thesis statements, this is just an example for you to know how it should look like. Next one. It's a discussion essay. In discussion essay, students consider writing thesis statement hard because you have to look at both sides. And they decide to leave out. They just only paraphrase the start of the question, the task, and thesis statement is just left for the conclusion to repeat. That's not how it works. You must state what this essay will discuss. It's a good mapping for you. For example, this thesis statement states this one. Firstly, this essay will discuss the reasons for space voyaging, and secondly, the detrimental effect of allocating funds for this exploration. It's neat, it's clear, the sentence is complex, which is showing the examiner that you are not only good from vocabulary, but you are also good at this constructing the sentence. So while I read this introduction, I say, okay, this student knows what he's doing. Next, problem and solution essay. We haven't practiced problem and solution cause and effect essays a lot, but you have an experience. And these statements were wrong mostly for these 2 types of an essay. Okay. Despite a large number of gyms, sedentary lifestyle is gaining popularity in the contemporary world. What problems are associated with this and what solution can you suggest? Sedentary lifestyle, you all know, it's without movement, you just sit. You don't move, you don't exercise. It's what we are doing right now in our houses. So the thesis statement is stating this one. This essay will discuss the main problems associated with this epidemic and propose some possible solutions to avoid them. So while reading this introduction, I understand the student knows that this is problem solution essay because there is a word problem that the student wants to discuss, and the student also wants to propose some solutions to get rid of this problem. Is it clear for you guys, or am I making it more confusing? Okay, for Abdurrahim, it's clear. For Rana, it's clear. Okay. It's so ironic the way I only get essays from the students who are writing right now, but what about the rest that they don't send me messages? They don't send the emails, essays, because they don't know how to write or they have problems. What about those guys? Okay, silence means yes, I hope. Okay, probably they are shy. Okay, cause and effect essay. Today, more people are overweight than ever before. What, in your opinion, are the primary causes of this, and what kind of effects are being caused by this epidemic? So it's very similar to the problem solution essay, the topic. So the same structure goes by. This essay will discuss the main reasons of this epidemic and then describe possible effects of this problem. You see, the structure is the same, you're just changing the words. For example, here the reasons are coming first, but in the previous one, the problem was here, so they are changing the place, but the context is almost the same. Last one, pros and cons essay. Pros and cons is advantage, disadvantage, plus and minus essay. It's the easiest essay that you can possibly get, and if you get, thank God, you are so lucky. In some countries, young people are encouraged to work or travel for a year between finishing high school and starting university studies, which doesn't happen here. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages for young people who decided to do this. So the question is all clear. What are the pluses and minuses of taking a gap year? Before embarking on college, many young people are advised that the year of working or traveling may be a good option. It means like entering. This essay will discuss that saving money is the biggest advantage of this and reduce motivation to study in the primary disadvantage. You can state the advantages, one advantage, one disadvantage of the task by answering to the question and state here what would reduce motivation, saving money. You can state the reasons in your thesis statement, but do not explain further and do not give examples. Or you can just say, this essay will discuss or look at or propose advantages, disadvantages, or discuss the advantages, disadvantages of this trend. It's up to you, but make sure that you have it there, that your thesis statement is stating the topic and the type of an essay. Sometimes a pros and cons essay might be combined with an opinion essay, so you have to give one extra sentence by stating, in my opinion, it's the advantages or disadvantages, or it's beneficial or it's not. So you combine. Any questions regarding introduction? Not exactly from these slides, maybe some extra questions that you don't understand, you want to discuss, you seek for an explanation. Okay, Muhammad Babur, then you are the first person that I expect task to essay today. What about others? Any questions? No questions. No questions. Are you guys so lazy to type a question? So that's why you just say no questions, or there is really no question? Okay, good, I believe. Okay, Sophia, do the structures of essays differ from each other? Yes, they differ. For example, You mean the structure of body paragraphs? What is included in there? Yeah, the kind of essay, the structure changes. The argumentation changes. Let's say in opinion essay, your both paragraphs are supporting one side of you, your view. But in discussion essay, both paragraphs will be about two different things. And the language changes also. In discussion essay, you use the comparative language. In the opinion essay, you use to convince someone to your point of view. I will send our first PPTs. There is a structure of every type of an essay. You can look at them. Okay, now let's move to how to write conclusion. Can you see on your screens new PPT? Yes, clearly. Okay, that's great. Okay, again, students, as I previously referred, they don't understand the need of conclusion. They don't understand how this can increase your marks significantly or can decrease your marks significantly. Introduction, conclusions should be as perfect as you shouldn't lower down the conclusion introduction and should praise the body part. No, they all should be kept in the same level because they are marked in the same level. So why do we need conclusion? It's your last chance to make a point. By making a point, I don't mean that you should add new ideas, but to evaluate what you already have. You give the summary. You don't repeat the same arguments, you just give the summary of this essay. The examiner has already said and seen what is in your body paragraphs. They already know what's your point of view, what's your arguments. They don't need it. They don't need to be repeated every single argument. They just want to see the clear, good summary in one sentence. This one sentence is the restatement of your thesis statement. You don't, in conclusion, I don't say that it's compulsory to repeat your opinion by saying, in my opinion, but with different keywords, you can refer back to thesis statement. And believe or not, but it's your last chance to save your essay. Because when the examiner finishes reading your essay, the most part that they remember is your conclusion. How strong it was, how effective it was, how well it was written, was it grammar free? Was there any complex structure in your sentences? Yes, no, they look at this one and then they come up with a mark. So even if they add you 1 or 2 marks for your conclusion, still plays a big role for your overall mark. And last part is last chance to leave good impression. If the introduction is your first chance to leave a good impression, your conclusion is the last chance. But if you make introduction and conclusion perfect, then you can be 100% sure that you will get a good mark. So that's why in conclusion and introduction is so important. What I noticed in your essays is that you try to be so creative. You like experimenting with your conclusions. The way you start your conclusions is for example, in a nutshell, or as aforementioned, or you start straight with an opinion. That's not how it should work. And when I advise you guys to start with in conclusion or to conclude with, you say, I don't want to be repeated. But guys, in the exam, you write only one task two, only one. You are not repeating. It's just one essay. You don't use in conclusion to conclude with in any other part of the exam. It's the first and the last phrase that you will use, so do not get scared of repeating. Examiner will not see your previous essays. I will not go and show to the examiner, look, the student repeated 100 times the phrase in conclusion. That's not going to happen. I will not sell you out. So it's all good. Use these in conclusion to conclude or to sum up. What's not to use is these ones. Finally, lastly, all in all, as I have discussed above, you don't have to point to the examiner what you have discussed already. Be classic, use these three, and avoid these four. And the last one is in a nutshell. I think it's clear not to use that. What you should do in your conclusion and what you shouldn't do in your conclusions. No matter how many times I repeat, you guys still get confused or forget about, so that's why I wrote down clearly. I hope this time it will be effective. So, do's in conclusion. It must be short. Is your introduction. By short, I don't mean having 3-4 words. It should have 2 sentences, and the sentence shouldn't be extremely short, like meaningless, pointless sentences. Make sure your sentence has something, has the point, has the aim to be written. Do not write 3-4 sentences by repeating what you have already said. It's not needed. Avoid it. Be on point. Summary, restate the thesis statement. That's it, done. Next, keep it simple. By keep it simple, I mean do not add new ideas. You don't impress the examiner by giving even better ideas, even better vocabulary. Because if your idea that presented new idea is better than what it is already in B1 and B2, that will just ruin your essay. So just keeping simple 2 sentences, repetition of your thesis statement is okay. Being boring is okay in conclusion. You don't have to entertain. Restatement is a must. Restate highlighted summary is a must. These are actually 2 sentences. That's what should be in your conclusions. And writing conclusion is a due for the conclusion. Do not leave it out. It's not something that is optional. You don't have an option in writing to write conclusion or not to write conclusion. It's compulsory. Now, don'ts in conclusion. Introducing any new idea is forbidden. It's banned. Do not even go to that way. Use of I in conclusion depends on the type of an essay. If it's an opinion essay, to what extent do you agree essay? Then if you want to, use it. That's cool. But in other type of essays, do not use. If they are not asking your opinion, why there is a need to give your opinion? Just avoid it. Keep it with yourself. And overwriting. What happens is that if your body 1 and body 2 is short, and it's not 250 words yet, and you try to write more words in your conclusion to reach that word count. However, by this one, you are even lowering down your mark. So do not risk. At least do the conclusion part correct. And the last thing is that do not experiment with the conclusion by adding new, unusual sentences, idioms, metaphors, phrasal verbs, new ideas. There is no need to experiment. If it's during the lesson, then why not? Just to see if it's a big mistake or not, you can just write and I can check. But in the exam, when it's just one time for an opportunity, I don't advise you to risk. So do not experiment. With this part, with this slide, all clear? Yes, no? Any questions till this slide? Yes, I have a question, or yes, all clear. Okay, great. Can you see now introduction and conclusion on your screens? Are they visible? Okay, excellent. Now let's read introduction and you will tell me what type of essay is it. Then we will look at the conclusion, okay? How can you restate? Now you will see how can we restate in here. That's why I put introduction, also conclusion together. Okay. It's argued that students should be taught real-life skills like how to look after money. This essay agrees that they should be part of a curriculum. This essay will first discuss how everyday competence benefit people later in life and then talk about the dangers of not being taught how to manage money at an early age. What type of an essay is it? And how did you know? Okay. It says, this essay agrees. Do you remember when I told you how to write to what extent do you agree opinion essays? You can say, instead of in my opinion, you say this essay agrees. It means you agree. So here, first you have your opinion. Then it says that it will discuss how everyday competence benefit, and then it will talk about the dangers. So it's discussion plus opinion essay. Well done. Now let's look at the conclusion, how it's restating the thesis statement. In conclusion, this essay supports the idea that teenagers ought to be taught financial subjects like financial planning because it helps them. Any other hold and lack of education related to these topics can have serious consequences. So where here do you see the restatement, the same language, like you see, this essay agrees. In what words it's stated here? Exactly. In conclusion, this essay supports. Supports is a synonym for agrees. So here is a clear restatement is going on. That teenagers ought to be taught financial subject. They should be part of a curriculum. This essay first discuss however they can be benefit. So the part about planning, financial, this was taken from the body parts. So there is a summary now going on. You see, they combine it, the thesis statement plus overview, summary of the essay together in one sentence by making the sentence complex. Did you get the idea how to restate? One word just can be the key one. Agrees, supports. And then the discussion part. You repeat what you thought that is correct. For you, it's correct that financial planning should be there. Okay, next one. You see, introduction has just a good structure. Let's see if you can note what type of essay it is. Contemporary advances have a serious effect on the planet. While I appreciate that critics may hope that people will shun the latest developments, I believe that technology itself can give us an answer. This essay will first discuss how not using electronics is unfeasible, followed by a discussion of how science is now coming up with ways to reverse global warming and pollution. What type of essay is it? Only discussion? Yeah, it's same as first. It's opinion plus discussion. You see here, I believe, and then it goes what we'll discuss. Discussion and opinion, they are both combined. So what is believed here? The person believes that technology itself can give us an answer. So the person agrees that technology should be there. It's plus. Now let's look at the conclusion. In conclusion, this essay acknowledges that technological progress does jeopardize the planet, but cutting-edge discoveries can actually halt and even heal its destruction. Is it a good restatement? What does mean jeopardize? Yeah, it means ruin. So instead of using the word spoil, ruin, damage, it's better to use jeopardize. If you look at this conclusion, you can see that the student is trying to impress the examiner by using good vocabulary. Cutting edge, jeopardize, acknowledges, destruction, halt. The vocabulary range of the students is quite good. Now next essay. Is it okay to use this kind of vocabulary, you mean? If so, then yes, it's good to use this kind of vocabularies in the essay. If I see these vocabularies in your essays, I would be really happy. Do you have any questions regarding this conclusion PPT? Take your time. If you have any question, I'm here. All clear. Whenever I ask a question, you say all clear. So it means two things. Nothing is clear or all is too clear, which is too suspicious. Yes, I will send both PPTs. Okay. Oh, time flew. We are together almost for 1 hour and 30 minutes. Do you have any questions regarding the whole lesson, not just the topic, whole lesson, or any suggestions to do tomorrow? Anything in particular that you want to do in the lesson? No suggestions? Vocabulary, synonyms, reading. Okay. Giving examples. Yeah, giving examples wasn't my option, but not a lot of people voted for giving examples. Okay, reading, giving examples, vocabulary, synonym. Anything else? Yeah, print me test we will do because today's test was a really easy one. There's still music playing, really? Ah, good. Okay, your suggestions are reading, giving examples, vocabulary, synonym, upper intermediate test. Anything else? Videos. Yeah, the video that we couldn't watch last lesson. Videos and linking cards. If I cover this all in one lesson, won't you get tired? Is it okay? Or shall I divide it into 2 lessons? It's okay, right? Okay, then we have the topics to cover is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, but only 2 of them are big. The rest is like entertaining. Okay, we will see how long it takes. We will cover as much as we can. The rest we will leave for Tuesday. So for tomorrow, I will do this one. Before start of the lesson, before 1 hour, I will send the reading to your groups. Because reading on the screen is a little hard, and while I send it like at the same time, it's quite uncomfortable for you. So you will have time to read the reading and be prepared. Okay? And it's a good time saver. So at 10 o'clock, I will send out the readings. They're quite big, so it's good. Yeah, guys, set an alarm. Okay, if that's all from your side. It was a good lesson. Thank you for joining. Have a nice day.